think it's time to move on to our main conversation with Laura Budzelek. And yeah, so we had a little chat on Zoom. I'm going to be playing some music from her as well. Laura is an American, but she is an Anglophile.
In all honesty, I'm actually British American, excuse me, heritage wise. So that's really the draw. But I'll tell you something. This is a bit of a story if we have time for a very short story. I have been more or less obsessed, and I'm going to say obsessed in a very positive light, with British culture since I was a girl. I mean, I'm not talking about necessarily just the Beatles or music. I'm talking about everything, like the history. I was really intrigued with Queen Elizabeth I since I was a young girl. I actually chose her name for my confirmation name as a Catholic, which was quite bizarre since she was a Protestant queen. But to make a long story short, I had this fascination. I remember even asking, if my family, if we were English at all, and they were like, well, no. And I said, oh, okay. And then, as an adult at university, I actually studied in London. So that was my first taste to actually be in the country and to soak in the atmosphere. And again, I was obsessed. I was very intrigued with Shakespeare. I wrote a thesis of comparing Shakespearean plays. I'm also an actress, with the plays of the golden age of Spain. Since as a linguist, I was using a lot of Spanish material. And just a few years ago, I decided to do a DNA test. Now you know where this story is going. And to be honest with you, there's been an adoption in my family, and clear as anything could be, I'm actually British, and I didn't know this my entire life. So it's a very nice story, I think, because it's special that not only, I mean, even if I weren't, I would still be intrigued with the culture, and I would still be very much in love with, I'm talking the comedy, literature, history, the art, everything. I just adore it so much. But now, as someone who can actually say, yes, my heritage comes, and I can actually trace the people and the relatives, my relations, it's super special. It's super special for me too. So that's basically my story for you.
Oh, I'm really excited for that. Where did you find out? Did you find out a particular area of?
Yeah, actually, I traced the areas. I have the history. Somebody comes from London. I have people who come from Scotland as well. I have people who come from, I think there was one gentleman who came from Wales, but the majority are from, well, actually, there's not really a majority. They're sort of spread out. So we have people from the South, people from, more Midlands. And if I had time, another time I can email you the places just for fun. But yeah, quite a few.
Yes, I'd like to know. I love family history, and I really like to hear of people's journeys, because I love what it says about you as well, encountering these stories of these other people, because I think it gives us a chance to remake ourselves and sort of just shed a different light on stuff that we've come to from our little. We can only have one sort of bringing up. We don't get two. It's like,
I know. You might as well. That's right. Enjoy your roots, and and as I was saying earlier, even the cultures that are not part of our DNA, of course, I have interest in them as well. But there's something about picturing these actual people, these ancestors of mine who were walking around the streets of London, and this is going back centuries because they came to the States. One of them was a Mayflower person, actually. Yeah.
That's not a celebrity, we think. So tell me about your time. Actually, let's get on to music. Must get on to music.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're a composer, and I heard some of your tracks. I think you've done them in Abbey Road, which...
Yes, that's right. The last one was done in Abbey Road on Valentine's Day. So, and the theme, I actually don't write a whole lot of love songs. Against love songs, who doesn't love a love song, right? But I wanted to focus on more universal themes that maybe people who aren't in love, or who aren't experiencing the joys of love, can relate to, or even people who are happily married or in a relationship can relate to other songs. I think there was a song by Romance, and it's basically about savoring every part of the journey of meeting someone that you enjoy, and just sort of trusting time. So yeah, I was there with my band. They're from the UK, and they were very, very kind to meet with me on Valentine's Day and record.
sing your tune. Even though you know it's just brand new, you've got to trust this love is true. So I'm going to say these words to you. Relish the romance and sing your tune. Even though you know it's just brand new, can you feel it? You've got to trust this love is true. So I'm going to say these words to you. Relish the romance and sing your tune. Even though you know it's just brand new, sing it with me. You've got to trust this love is true. So I'm going to say these words to you. Relish the romance and sing your tune. Even though you know it's just brand new, can you feel it? You've got to trust this love is true. So I'm going to say these words to you. Relish the romance and sing your tune.
Laura there reminding me a little bit of, Carly Simon, Laura Nyro. I'm sure lots of other people as well. Yeah, let's have a little bit more conversation and play another tracks in a moment. So look forward to that while we have a little bit more details about Laura herself. And yeah, we couldn't resist talking about Abbey Road and about the instruments. I'm a bit of a vintage organ nut myself. So we talked about instruments, 1960s, and of course, George Martin.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the organ as well, because I actually played that. I played the electric organ at Abbey Road Studios. So have you been there before? Have you had a chance to go there to visit?
I haven't. He recorded there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a joy to play their organ there. I mean, I'm not sure who actually has played it in the past, out of all their musicians, but just to have, the we call it in the States the bridge, but I believe you call it the 8-bar, right? More so. But I used that sound, and it was just so much fun to use. It's so much fun to use instruments that might be a little bit more far out of the realm of what you typically use in a song. People think bass guitar, lead guitar, drums, perhaps, keyboards, but I love throwing in like an electric mandolin or something like that that's a little bit more obscure.
Yeah, and the Beatles, which is something I wanted to talk a little bit Beatles today. That's the thing they did particularly, because as young people with access to music at the music studios in a way that was just incredible for them, but they still were very curious, and they pushed forward ways of recording
Yes.
and bringing in different instruments. And I think Paul McCartney in particular is known for having taken a lead in using traditional instruments in a different way, like the famous violins on Eleanor Rigby.
Oh, yes.
And he said,
Eleanor Rigby, that's right. And
yeah, he said, no vibrato, please, to them, which gives it.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So that was his thing, not George
Well,
Martin's thing. So he sort of drawn
oh,
the innovations that George Martin was putting in front of him. He ran with it, yeah.
Well, it's good to have a voice, even though there's the producer. I'm glad that he spoke up, because as an artist, you're the one who's creating. Of course, we need to listen to the people in the studio, but yeah, well, Paul McCartney, he came from a musical theater background. I mean, I don't mean he was in the West End, but his father very much treasured that type of music. And I think that really trickled into what Paul McCartney was doing with his own sounds. You can hear that, a bit of that, Honey Pie has that sassy sound to it. And I actually use this sound. I just realized that now. I didn't think of it at the time when I was writing it, but I have a song about chocolate. It's in Italian, and it sort of has that Broadway baby kind of feel, with the piano, but it's sung in Italian. So, but yeah. But then of course we have George Harrison using the Indian instruments too.
That's right. I mean, he really took that on, and in a way that nobody had before. And with so many Indian people settled in England, I think it was really amazing that he did that. Yeah, in the UK. So with those
Oh
links,
yeah.
and
Oh
he went the other way and sort of brought up, started people thinking about India in a non-exploitative way. He was really
right. People feel included.
humanitarian. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's so important. Absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important for musicians to open up these doors and incorporate these instruments. Something as small as an instrument could, I know this might sound a bit, corny or, blasé, but it really can lead almost like a link, unify cultures, or at least have people tune into what you're doing. And then they think to themselves, oh, okay, well, they're open to my culture, then I can be more vocal about what I believe, or I could share more of my love for my culture. And it just goes on like that. And that's why artists are so important.
Yeah, I agree completely. I'm somebody who really believes in learning different ways of singing in different languages, trying out different styles, and actually sort of putting it on. I think it's culturally really good for us to do that, and
Yes,
do it with,
absolutely.
sure, you do it with respect, but you do it with enthusiasm, and it's more than respect. It's like with love, isn't it? That's how
It
I
is. It
think.
is. It's almost like you're. It's a passion. I mean, it could be seen as a diplomatic statement, but you're really doing it for the love, like you said. You're interested in it truthfully.
Truthfully,
So
I mean, when I was younger, I mean, I just loved music, and I had a habit of following music. If I heard something that intrigued me, I would literally follow it. And I was in Indonesia because I went there. I used to do linguistics, but I wasn't, couldn't speak other languages
I
much.
didn't know that. I didn't know. Or
Yeah.
maybe I do now. Maybe I've seen this on Facebook
Mm.
actually.
So I'm interested in languages, and
You are
I
okay.
was in Indonesia. I got off the bus because I heard some music, and I went to learn the
Yeah.
folk songs from the folk musicians. So I learned to sing in Minangkabau, which is a dialect of Indonesia. And I mean, I don't remember, I do remember some. I'm not a huge, haven't carried it through, although I still listen. Now we have the internet, I can listen to songs, go, oh, look, it's Anak Orang and stuff.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, it's love, isn't it? It's like you hear the music. I was just like totally drawn. And because I'm a singer and I love music, I wanted to do some. So we just got on as singers. And that was interesting as well because a lot of people in the local community, they really value the singers, but they also
yeah.
have this attitude, especially the women, because it's not totally respectable to be a singer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's sort of something for outsiders. Because
Right.
like
Oh, interesting.
have it's not entirely like that, but I also have a couple of the girls
I
I met.
know what you mean.
Oh, you shouldn't talk.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean because that's how actors work. Yeah. It
Yeah,
wasn't as accepted. I mean, looking at the history of actors for women, I mean, they weren't, look at Shakespeare, we had men on stage for so long, it wasn't acceptable. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm so glad that's changing. Hopefully it can change for them. I mean,
I'm
it's such a simple pleasure, such a liberty that we would take for granted that they can't even, can you imagine, not being able to pursue being a
yeah.
singer?
I mean, obviously some people could and did.
Oh,
So
okay. It's just not as commonplace.
there
Yeah.
were, and but it's just that you end up being you have to be a bit outsider, a
A
personality.
rebel.
You had, yeah, a little bit of rebel in there. There's, whether you're born into a rebel family or a rebel thinking group, or whether you are lured there by your own personal. Yeah, I think there can be something of that in performing and music.
Yeah, for sure. There is a little bit of going outside the box, um, and that's the beauty of it. I think is to be able to express yourself. And yeah, you had mentioned. I don't know if you wanted to go back to the first question about being an American in the UK. I find that question very interesting for me. And now that you mentioned that you're into linguistics, maybe you could relate to this, because in all honesty, I don't really feel American when I'm in the UK. I actually feel like I belong there. I know that sounds so silly, but and if I'm there for longer periods of time, like, I don't know if you know, I am a linguist. I speak 5 languages fluently. So, and as an actress as well, it's so natural for me to just speak. I mean, I don't go into, I don't, I don't go into the south of the US and switch to their way of speaking. But there's something about being in the UK where, especially in the London region, where I just feel like it's natural to kind of sound more so like that. I don't really do it because I think people would think I was strange, but it's almost like I have to think to, but I think what happens to my speech is it becomes more like transatlantic,
Yeah, I'm so
So yeah, I feel like I blend in. I mean, I know I'm not the same, but
and welcome. And London is a melting pot. I don't have a London
it
accent,
is a melting
for
pot.
example.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
I've
you
lived
sound different.
in London a long time, and you'll hear bits of East End in what I say because I lived in East End.
Yeah.
My husband's East End, so there'll be bits that will come out of the way he talks and the way I have talked.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'm more northern, sometimes I'm more university.
Yes.
But you've got to be
I
authentic
hear all of these.
that you're doing,
This mixture, because I do hear those. When I listened to your show the other week, I heard the North and I heard, of course, university, all that. I mean, I think that's so fascinating.
Yeah, I think so too. And I love the way people switch between registers. And I think I'd say to everybody, it's totally normal, to switch between registers, depending who you're speaking to. And people have got a lot of linguistic facility. And what I'm really big on is I really like people in the UK to speak more languages and feel confident that it is okay for them, because I think people are very shy here about speaking other languages. I think
they are here as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think because English is so dominant,
That's what it is.
They feel a fool if they try it. They often don't get a chance to practice, and it just sort of compounds to make people, and then people say the English are horrible at speaking other languages.
I love dispelling that myth.
And it's like that. All these things are not important. The important thing is that you, as an individual, should be able to feel like you can have a go and
just got to dive in,
go and connect with other languages.
That's right.
This song feels a little bit on theme after that little rant. This is Laura's song, Treasure the World Now.
Strolling away along the bay, as the clouds disperse and softly fade, the sunlight kisses with its rays. What a taste of joy, what a gorgeous day. Oh, I could wish I were afar, in another land or a different car, and I could sit and just complain. But what's the use, what would I gain? So I keep my head up high, and I simply choose to try. Must enjoy the day we're living, got to treasure the world now. Keep my head up high, you don't need to wonder why. Must enjoy what we've been given, got to treasure the world now. Got to treasure the world now. The world may seem to have its share of peculiar ways and strange affairs. I like to think that we're all one, to love and share and have some fun. enjoy life and talk a while. So I keep my head up high, and I simply choose to try. Must enjoy the day we're living, got to treasure the world now. Keep my head up high, you don't need to wonder why. Must enjoy what we've been given, got to treasure the world now. Got to treasure the world now. La da 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 da. La da 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 da.
You've just heard the title of Laura's album that's out at the moment.
Treasure the World Now. Treasure the World Now. So, I mean, I have a few singles. I have Relish the Romance. I have Sing a Song to the Angels. I have I'm Just Awakening. But Treasure the World Now it consists of 12 tracks, you know, and I sing on all the tracks. I play keyboards on most of them. I think except for one, I have mostly just guitar, but everything else I'm on keyboards or, you know, piano, that kind of thing. I guess keyboards mostly. And you know, like we were talking about, it's really about world unity, getting cultures together, and also your personal journey in life, you know, making connections with people down the road, you know, people who are part of your journey. That's what the whole theme for this album is on. I'm thinking of already a theme for the next one. I won't say just yet what I'm thinking of, but I have a few ideas.
Well, I can see
And
you like a big theme, because those are big themes. And another big theme song from Laura Budzelek to finish our conversation. This is International. Thanks for talking to me, Laura.
When I was a child, I knew that someday I would travel this diverse and open world. I
you so much, Laura, for joining me in that conversation.